Hey, what's up, YouTube? Second day off and catching up on the news and everything. Mostly college football news, NFL news. I have been kind of following the NBA, the news out of the NBA. I don't watch the NBA. It sucks. That's the worst organized sports league in the country. I'd rather watch the WNBA than the NBA. That game's ridiculous. They don't call nothing. It's just 10 guys on the court showing off. That's not much. I like to watch college basketball. It's a little more competitive. But just been catching up on some things. And the Big Ten. So, I'm a big Ohio State fan. Of course, we play in the Big Ten. The Big Ten announced, I don't know how long ago, month and a half or so, 2 months, they're canceling all their fall sports. And then the Pac12 soon followed suit, which the Pac12, I didn't figure they were going to play this year. There's West Coast, bunch of liberals. They fully believe this pandemic is the end of the world, so I didn't expect them to play. But Big Ten kind of surprised me. And I read an article where the Big Ten commissioners, all the powers that be in the Big Ten, they thought the rest of the NCAA would follow suit. They thought the Power Five would all go ahead and cancel their seasons, but they didn't. The ACC, the Big 12, and the SEC decided, hey, we're going to play. And there will be a national champion. And guess what? Big 10, you're not going to be a part of that. And I said the same thing to the Pac-12, but the Pac-12's never really a part of it anyway. So, again, that's why, who cares about the Pac-12 and what they do? But the Big 10, that's pretty disappointing. And for as much as I hate the SEC, and I hate them for good reason, a bunch of crybabies. The fans are a bunch of crybabies. They all root for the SEC, no matter what state they live in, or who their home team is. They're SEC fans. I mean, you can put Arkansas in the national championship, and you're going to have Bama fans talking shit on Facebook about the SEC. But I'll say this. At least they got the balls to play football. And I ain't talking about the Big Ten negatively about their players, their coaches, their coaching staff, their fan base. They all want to play. The athletes want to play. The coaches want to play. The fans want to see them play. It's the Big Ten commissioner and all the people that surround him. Apparently, there's representatives from each school, and I don't know how it all works. Some kind of hierarchy, some type of bullshit inside NCAA conference government type structured thing, where they all apparently voted not to play, all because of COVID-19. So let's talk about the SEC and the ACC and the Big 12. Now, most of the time I don't mind the ACC teams. Clemson, I don't mind Clemson. I mean, they're a good team. I like Dabo Swinney. Dabo, however you pronounce it. He's a good coach. Don't care much for Trevor Lawrence. He should have played in the SEC with all the rest of the crybabies, but Florida State, they had their run. Most teams in the ACC, I don't mind, and Big 12 the same. Most of those teams, I don't mind Texas. And Oklahoma and TCU, Baylor. I don't mind those schools. I mean, they're decent programs. They're competitive. They don't play defense, but yeah, that's on them. But yeah, I don't understand the Big Ten's decision versus those three conferences. So let's just throw the Pac-12 out because they're really irrelevant 90% of the time anyway. But I can only think the only coach that's probably, and fan base that's probably not disappointed in the fact that the Big Ten canceled their fall sports is Michigan. Because let's face it, they won't have to get beat up by Ohio State again. And Harbaugh pissed Ryan Day off, so Day's wanting to hang 100 on him this year, and he probably would have done it. But back to the COVID, the reason they canceled. The SEC is going to continue their season basically uninterrupted. I think they're only playing conference games, so they won't get those 2 out-of-conference games where they schedule Colorado, A&M, or whatever. Or I can't think of another crappy school. Youngstown State or something. Youngstown State's a good school. They're just small. But, you know, those teams, they always schedule a couple softies that no one's heard of. Playing their conference, so kudos to them. I give SEC credit. They finally reached down, grabbed a set of balls, made a decision. I can respect that. The part that doesn't make sense is kind of the demographics of this COVID-19 virus and the conferences that have canceled their fall sports season. So in the SEC, 7 of the top 10 states for positive COVID-19 cases in the United States, 7 of the top 10 have teams that play in the SEC. Louisiana is number 1. Louisiana has the highest rate of COVID-19 per capita, per 100,000 people, than any state in the United States. And they're going to play. Ohio is 40th out of the 50 states for positive cases per capita. Oregon is below Ohio in positive cases. Colorado is below Ohio per capita. So none of this makes any sense. But what does make sense, the Big Ten is made up of a few swing states. So I think the Big Ten commissioner, in all his wisdom, is trying to push the agenda from the left, keep Trump from getting reelected. They're trying to make people as miserable as they can make them with the thought that the only way this misery goes away is if we somehow elect Biden be president. And I got a news flash for you, that's not going to happen. Trump's going to win in a landslide. It's going to be worse than the beatdown he put on Hillary. But anyways, at any rate, the Big Ten commissioner has a son. He plays for Mississippi State. And he's going to play. Now, if someone could explain to me, if you're that concerned about COVID, you live in a state that has fewer cases than the state your son plays in. I believe Mississippi is 7th in the United States for positive cases. Playing against 6 other teams that are in the top 10 for positive cases. You're going to allow your own flesh and blood, your son, to play, to take that risk. but you won't allow the student athletes in the Big Ten to assume that same risk. And, you know, as much as I'm disappointed that I don't get to watch Big Ten football this year, I feel bad for the players. Because there are a lot of juniors and seniors out there that were looking to put on an exhibition for the NFL. These guys are, you know, pretty much counting on being drafted and moving up maybe in their draft status to make money, and that's probably the best opportunity they'll have in their entire lives to make a comfortable living, and it's being taken away from them over some political bullshit. I read today where there have only been 6,000 deaths in the United States that were actually caused by the coronavirus. All the other deaths were attributed to another disease. So people that have been diagnosed with cancer and have died of corona are being counted as a corona death. And that's misleading. Because these people, they may have died anyway of cancer. But they're fighting cancer, so they've a weakened immune system, and that's why the coronavirus has done a damage. It goes after the weak. People that have a compromised immune system, that's who it goes after. It rarely targets healthy people. And that's the other side of this that doesn't make sense. These college athletes, these kids are the healthiest people in the world. They're all aged 18 to 22, 23, in the shape of their lives. They are conditioned. Now, there's no way you could convince me that there would even be one death related to the coronavirus in these college athletes, because these people, they're in their prime. They are healthy. Everything on them still works as it should, 100%. There'd be maybe a few rare cases of some type of outlying illness that they're not aware of, but for the most part, these kids got that virus, they'd be down a day or two, over with. They'd be back on the field. So if the Big Ten commissioner could explain to me, one, the risk for the Big Ten in general when very few of the states where Big Ten schools are located are testing high for positive cases of COVID, with the exception of New Jersey. Freaking New Jersey, the one Rutgers, their one contribution to the Big Ten. How the hell we even let them in? Need to get rid of them and Maryland. Shit. Yeah, New Jersey is the highest ranking state in the Big Ten, followed by Maryland. So yeah, thanks guys. Welcome to the Big Ten, douchebags. Man, the only positive contribution by Rutgers was that they've allowed Indiana to get an easy win every year. Pathetic. But explain to me how the Big Ten commissioner can allow his son to play in an area that has the highest rate of COVID, but yet he shuts down the Big Ten's fall sports schedule. Someone, if anyone can explain it, but you can't. It doesn't follow logic or reason. It's political. It has to be. It's the only logical explanation. So, play football. Damn, I'm disappointed. But that's the end of my rant. Shit. I'll get on here sometime this weekend and tell you all about how my business is running. That's all for now.